Hey everybody, welcome to my Do You Need to Dry Your Filament PLA version. This is going to be part 2 of this series. And I'm making this intro video after I've done all the tests and recorded all the video. And I'm doing that for a couple reasons. First, to apologize for all the edits, because I have over 23 videos and 2 hours worth of recordings on this PLA test, and I know you guys aren't going to put up with that. So there are a bunch of edits in it just for me to try and get it down to a reasonable length, but still try and keep all the pertinent data in it. Secondly, when I made the test, I didn't realize that this little gauge here does not go below 16%. So when you see me use it in the drying tests, and the dehydrator pegs it at 16% after 10 minutes, you'll know that it's still dropping down lower. I did eventually dig out this old analog one and test it, and the dehydrator does get it down to 0, actually gets it down below 0 on the gauge. So with that being said, let's go ahead and watch the video. I think you'll be surprised at the results. Okay, I have got the Hatchbox white PLA filament in. For the record, this was a roll of filament I bought for a job about a year ago. Did the job, had probably 2/3 of the roll of filament left, and since I don't use white very much, it's been sitting on my shelf ever since. Open, by the way. And the current humidity in the room is 24%. It is 31°C temperature-wise in the room. So, for the record, this is Cura's standard setting for PLA, 0.2 layer height. Everything in it, and it's Cura 4.3, everything in it is a standard, with the exception of I lower the acceleration from 500 to 300 and the jerk from 8 to 5, because I've had some problems with layer shifting in the past. I did that and it all went away and it didn't seem to affect anything. So what better thing to print for this than a benchy? You got it. So our benchy is done. Let's get it off of there and have a look at it. Let's see, this one, what was it, 24% humidity? And let's see what that looks like. It actually looks pretty darn good, doesn't it? Yeah, very nice. So, going to get my Sharpie. And if I remember right, the humidity at the time I started this was 24 or 22. I'm just going to write 24 on it because I think that's what it was. There we go, wrote 24 on the bottom of that one. And now I'm going to take the filament off and I'm going to put it in the dryer. It is 5:30 according to my Japanese watch. I'm going to flip it on. It is set at 50 degrees C. It is 30 C in the room right now, 22 within the dehydrator, and we're going to let that go. What do you think? 3 hours, 4 hours? What is it now? 5:30, 6:30, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30. Yeah, I'll give it 4 hours in there, and then I'll pull it out, and then we'll run another benchy. And that'll put me right a little past bedtime, but we'll do it anyway. Okay, I am back. I decided on 3 hours instead of 4 for no other reason than I really don't think it's going to make a damn bit of difference. This is only a half a spool of filament at this point in time, and I'd like to get to bed at a decent hour. So, just going to show you real quick what we're showing on here. It has been at 16% and 49°C for darn near the whole 3 hours. It got up to temperature and down to 16 pretty quick. So I have the printer up to temperature. I am going to pop this spool out and get it in real quick, and I'm going to start printing the next benchy. Okay, took me about 2-3 minutes to get that over. Let's get this started. Okay, here's the one we printed with the dried filament. Stuck on there pretty good. There it comes. And I know it's getting kind of dark in here. Don't worry, I will get these all together near the end, and we'll look at them all. Whoops! We'll compare them all together. This one's very nice too. Honestly, I can't tell if it's any better than the other one, but they're both very nice. When we get done with this, I'll get all 5 or 6 of them that I'm going to do together, and don't know if that helps any, and we'll look at them all together. Can't really tell if that's any better than the other one or not. Not really sure if the difference from 22 or 24% moisture down to whatever the dehydrator gets it to is going to be significant. Anyway, it's getting late here and I want to head to bed, so that's it for tonight. I will, and of course I'll be back in just a second or two as far as you guys know, and I'll get the filament in the box and I'll get a humidifier and we'll pump the humidity up in stages and we'll see how high we got to go before it gets bad. Okay, so let's take a look at our setup for making our filament wet. I've got the dehydrator off and I've got the filament moisturizer up. Let's take a look at it. I have I believe it's a 26, 28 quart, I think it's about 27 liter clear plastic container with a nice lid that snaps down. I have my little gauge here, which currently says it's 25% in the room, which is what I printed one of the benchies at. I have a little essential oil diffuser, and for those of you, I'm sorry it's plugged in, can't get closer. For those of you who don't know what it has a little sonic vibratory thing, and you put water in the container and it makes it vibrates and it makes a mist that comes out of the top. So, first thing I'm going to do, I am going to fill that up. I can't tell whether I'm on the shot here. Am I? Yeah, I am. I'm going to fill this up with some bottled water. Also has an LED light in it, which is kind of cool, but I normally don't use it since I don't really like lights. And let me turn it on and let me see if you can see how it works. This is 30 seconds on and 30 seconds off. Don't know if you can see the mist coming out there, but it is coming out. And I'm going to leave it on that setting. Let's turn the cool color changing light on for no other reason than we can. Okay, due to circumstances beyond my control, mainly the fact that that thing pumps way more humidity in that box than I expected, and because unplugging it and plugging it back in means I have to take the lid of the box off and to turn it on and off, and that changes my humidity drastically. So what I decided to do was to leave it running on the 30-second on-off mode and then just open the box and adjust how much it's venting manually until I can hit the 50% range. 50. Okay, my fellow science lovers, it has been 3.5 hours. Can you see that? It's been just about 3.5 hours. It is 55% humidity inside the enclosure. The printer is up to temperature and ready to go. Let's see what we get. And if I haven't mentioned it, this is the same exact G-code on the same card and the same printer. I am changing absolutely nothing between these print jobs. Okay, so that one's done. Let me pop it off of there real quick and let's have a look at it. There we go. My print release hammer. And this one was the one I got to, what was it, between 50 and 60%. And honestly, without getting it up in a lot of light, I'm not yet really seeing the difference between that and the previous ones. They all look about the same to me as right now in this light. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark this one. I'm going to mark this one 50 on the bottom of it, and we're going to compare that. So for the next one, I think what I'm going to do, my thought was to just leave it going on all night and get it as damp as I could. But I think we need to do one more step first, and I think that's 70%. Okay, don't know how well you can see that, but it is 74% humidity inside the box. My watch says it is 20 minutes to 7. We're going to give it 3 hours in there. I'm going to do my best to keep it right around 73%, and then we are going to see if that makes a difference. Okay, here we are back, and it has been, I think it's been 3 hours. It is now about 9:30. I think it was 6:30 last time, right? So I think it's been 3 hours. So you can see it's so moist in there. The label has the labels come off the it was, oops, where are we? 74% in there. I have tried to keep it in the 70s. It came up once to the mid 80s before I caught it, but I did not see it below 70. So let's yeah, it's pretty damp. Let's turn around here and let's get it loaded in and let's get a print start on it. Let's get it done as quick as we can. Printer's up to temperature again, and let's pop it in and let's get it going. And I will be back when this is done. Alright, this one's done, so let's get it off and have a look. And once again, I don't see any difference. It looks as good to me as all the others have. I don't see the slightest bit of difference between this one and the others. So, what's going on here? Either my testing methodology is completely wrong, and I'm willing to accept that. Maybe I am not giving the filament enough soak time in the humidified chamber. Maybe 3 hours isn't sufficient, but certainly that's not what I've been led to believe. Let me mark this one before I set it down and forget. And I'm going to mark this one, 75, because it was over 70 the whole time, and at one point it was actually over 80. So, whoops. So, either my testing methodology is completely wrong and I'm not letting it soak enough for long enough. I refuse to believe that it's losing its humidity in the 5 or 10 minutes it takes me to get it out of the chamber onto the printer and printing. That just doesn't seem reasonable. Or the only other option is PLA just is not as hygroscopic as everybody has led me to believe. That it just really doesn't make that much difference whether the humidity is 15 or whether the humidity is 75. But you know what I'm going to do? I am going to put it back in the chamber, and I'm going to let it run all night long. The little humidifier here, I measured it. It holds about 110 milliliters, or about 3.75 ounces of liquid, and it will run all night long on its on 10 seconds, off 10 seconds setting. And I know that it will get the chamber pushing 90% humidity in a short period of time with the lid completely on. So let's do that. Let's turn this on. I don't want the light. Let's get the light off. And there we have it. Let's get the filament back in it. And I'm going to leave that all night long. It is 11:45. We're actually 18 minutes to 12. It's at night, and I am going to let that run, and I'm going to bed. Be back in the morning. Good morning, everyone. It is a bright, sunshiny morning in Arizona. Everybody's feeling good today, except for our roll of white hatchbox filament, which I suspect is having what the British used to call a real rotter. Let's get it out of there and look. It is 9 a.m. in Arizona, so it has been in there for 8.5 hours. 8.5? Yeah, 8.5. My humidity gauge reads 99%, and there is actually standing water on the bottom of this. So, do you think this filament's finally damp enough to give me problems? Let's see. I'm just going to wipe the outside of it off because it is wet. I'm just going to wipe the outside of it off so it does not go into the printer wet. I doubt your filament gets this moist unless you live below sea level, or in a rainforest, or in a swamp, or outdoors in Seattle. Okay, here we go. One benchy at 99% humidity for 8.5 hours. I'm going to sit down and have my first cup of coffee, and I will be back as soon as this benchy is done printing. Okay, our 99% humidity benchy is done. Let's get it off of there and see what it looks like. And I'm not even going to comment on this. I'm just going to show it to you. And what I'm going to do next, I'm going to get all 5 of these benchies. And there they are, all 5 of them. I'm going to get all 5 of these benchies over onto my desk, and I'm going to get the camera mounted on the swing arm, and we're going to zoom in and we're going to see if we can tell the difference. So, before I go any further, it's the only one that's not marked. And the only reason I said 99% is because I don't think my humidity gauge goes above 99%. It's only got a 2-digit readout. So I'm going to write 99 on the bottom. Okay, here are our 5 benchies. And before I begin, let me apologize for the quality of some of the previous video clips. There were a couple times when it was either late at night or early in the morning, and I just plain could not remember to turn the lights on bright enough to get a sharp image. So, moving on, here are the 5 benchies, and I don't know what order they're in. I just grabbed them all in my fist. Let's take a look at, hey, you know what? Let's put them in order first. This is 50, this is 99, this is 75, this one is 24, this one is dehydrated, and 50. So, from left to right, they go from driest to wettest. So let's take a look at them. This is the one that came out of the dehydrator. And I'm going to try and keep my commentary to a minimum, shockingly enough. So that's dehydrated. This is 24%, just open on my shelf for over a year, with all the ups and downs in the humidity over that period of time. This one is the 50% humidity one. Hope these are showing up good. I am staring directly into the light as I look up at the camera screen, trying to make sure I've got this framed and focused. And the next one is going to be 75% humidity. And I'll be honest with you, I have spotted one difference, and that is all I have spotted in these. I mean, there are differences, but if I printed 5 of them all straight from the dehydrator, there would be some tiny differences. The printer is not 100% perfect. So there are minor lines in some that are either not in the others or are in a different place than the others. But that's going to happen, I think, with just about any printer, especially one that costs 179 bucks. So here's the one, 99% humidity, and I'll let you see if you can spot the difference in it. I'll try and get it up as close as I think it'll focus. I don't know if the camera's picking up what I saw. I'm trying to get it on those areas as best I can. So, in case you didn't see it, this one at 99% has a tiny amount of stringing in a couple of different locations. It's very fine. I didn't even see it myself when I first picked it up. There I think you can see it there pretty good. It's very tiny. I think a quick blast from a hair dryer on high would probably remove it, or certainly a heat gun would remove it very quickly. And that's our only difference, from 0% humidity to 100%. And here's the 0 and the 100 side by side. You know, I'm just not convinced. I'll let you make your own determination. So there they are. You can draw your own conclusion. I'll tell you what mine is. Mine is, unless you live in the middle of a rainforest and you have no air conditioning, or in some other locale where the humidity is 80% or above, drying PLA is a complete and total waste of time. Now, if you're doing it and you think it helps, or you've shown to yourself that it does help, more power to you. You're certainly not hurting anything except the possibility of a few extra bucks a year on your electricity bill. Other than that, I don't see any point in drying PLA, at least certainly not white hatchbox PLA. I doubt I'd notice much difference in other PLAs either. So there you have it. PLA test done. Do you need to dry your PLA filament? Question answered. No, you probably really do not. Leave me any comments and questions you have below. If you think of a way I can do this better for my upcoming PETG test, which I hope to have done in probably a few days or a week, let me know. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe and like and hit notifications and all that stuff if I've helped you, or even if I've just given you a good laugh or two. Thanks, and catch you the next time.